Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I had an interesting conversation, man, with a brother who's they want to be Muslim, but they torn between joining the Nation of Islam and what we'll call Sunni Orthodox Islam. So as we was having a conversation, man, the brother had some very key and interesting points, and I understood why he feels the way that he feels. Okay? Although I'm explaining to him that certain aspects of that, it comes with shirk. So, he made it clear, I don't believe Elijah Muhammad is no prophet. And I don't believe that Far Muhammad is God in person. So he said to me, is it possible for me to be a member of the Nation of Islam and a real Sunni Muslim? And I make it clear, I don't believe that Far Muhammad is Allah in person, and I don't believe that Elijah Muhammad is the last messenger. So I'm saying, if you really feel that way, why the Nation of Islam? Why the Nation of Islam? And he said, yeah, he called me out. I've been around the Nation of Islam, and I've been around Muslims that attend the masjid. He said, I be on Instagram, Facebook, X, and he said, all I see, he said 9 out of 10 Muslim women that I see on Instagram and Facebook, they have very bad manners, right? He say some of them be covered up good, but they have very bad manners, and they mouth be reckless. And you know what I'm saying? As I'm listening to him, I'm like, okay. And he said, I've never seen a sister from the Nation of Islam on Instagram, Facebook, or no social media sites talking crazy and reckless. Right? He said, and when I do see them on there, they kicking knowledge about doing for ourselves. And he didn't have me stumped because I understand where he's coming from. And he said to me, if the Muslims, man, got the hawk, why all the Muslims act like this? He was like, the women ratchet and the men basically fighting each other. He said they internet gang banging. Okay? So he was like, why is this, man? So I kind of broke it down to him, and I want y'all to follow me on this because it's a point to this. So I told him, man, I understand where you're coming from because at one point in my life, I did become a 5%er. And a 5%er is the group that left from the Nation of Islam but kept the teachings and then added on them. One thing about the Nation of Islam, man, it comes with a structure. When you come in, you have to learn stuff like student enrollment. You don't just join the Nation of Islam and show up and leave. It's mandatory when you come into the Nation of Islam, you enter classes. And every city, wherever you live, everybody starts in the same classes. The women They have to go through what's called MGT, Muslim Girl Training. The men, they go through FOI training. So it's structured. And as a 5%er and a Nation of Islam, we actually used to have what's called civilization classes. Civilization classes, man, where we was learning how to adjust to this society and environment, but still be civilized people. And like he said, I don't be seeing Nation of Islam men in the clubs drinking. I don't see them all on Facebook, Instagram, doing reels, smoking weed and promoting drugs, gang banging all on the street with a stick and a pole. I've never seen the Nation of Islam men or the women do none of that. But I see this from Muslim men all the time. And in the cities where I be at. Even in the masjid. And I know that he's not lying. But they have a particular structure. So they all learn. You see what I'm saying? Through the door. And it's something you could be kicked out of. You can get suspended and kicked out of the Nation of Islam. But with the Muslims, there's no universal structure. You go in one masjid, you learning this. You go in another masjid, you learning that. You go in a masjid, there's no learning at all. You just come to Jumu'ah and then just listen to whoever walk up to you talking. And whatever they tell you, you just take it because you don't know no better. And you new to the masjid and you thinking because they in the masjid that you fine. But this was a difficult conversation for me. And it reminded me of years ago, man. I heard Imam Siraj Wahaj. Years ago, man. Back, of course, he was getting some slander. Oh, we don't take from him. We don't listen to him. He's not Salafi. All that rhetoric, right? And do you know, man, once I actually got into some real classes, wallahi. When I got to the point and I got into some classes and started getting educated, that's when I found out Imam Siraj Wahaj was really like that. I'm like, man, this is what he was talking about. This is what he was teaching. But, you know, they slandered his name like they do everybody who not a part of their group. And that man has some real ilm. But anyway, and still does. But anyway, he was talking about an incident where a person who was his imam, when they was in the nation, and when he switched over to real Islam, they both left the War of Deen community, and this man was his imam. So there was an incident where some masjids in Arizona started protesting. They protested the masjid. They didn't like the board, and they didn't like who was chosen as the imam. So they outside with picket signs and all of this. So he get a phone call, you know, can you come help us, this and that. So they fly him out to Arizona to resolve the issue. He say when he get picked up from the airport and get to the masjid, by the time they get to the masjid, the Muslims is literally in a brawl, fighting outside the masjid over this protest and what was going on with the masjid. He said the police pull up, police all in the masjid with their shoes on. But this incident made the other brother go back to the Nation of Islam. And Siraj went to sit down and talk to him like, you know, why you going back to shirk? And the brother had his valid reasons. It's structure. We don't deal with all of this. We actually doing something for our people. You know, we actually dealing with education. You know what I'm saying? We educated on the Islam side, which they version of Islam, of course, and secular education. We smart people. We building clinics, farms. We got our own grocery stores, you know, our own barbershops, our own restaurants. But with this, you know, we get treated like peasants and we fight. So it reminded me of that conversation, man, but it made me look at, you know, the conversation was difficult for me because I know he's telling the truth about what he's seeing. And it just made me think about all the people that's thinking the same way, but no sound Muslim get a chance to talk to them. They don't get a chance to talk to them, to really try to reel them in and help them understand and navigate their way through the deen. And I could say I'm a victim of this because wallahi, I stopped giving dawah in this city and calling people to Islam. It wasn't not out of everybody that was ever been around me and hung with me. No matter what city I went to, everybody accepted Islam on some level. Not one person. Now whether they stayed or not, and this male and female, not one person didn't accept Islam. I stopped giving dawah in this city because I didn't want people to go get corrupted by the Muslims that be in this masjid. So I know it was a shaitan because at the same time, I'm leaving it in the hands of Allah. But for you to become one of these bad Muslims and run around here misrepresenting Islam to make people say I will never be a Muslim because of them, I didn't want that. I didn't want that on my conscience. If I couldn't hold you down and sit you down and be with you hands on all the time, I wouldn't give them no dawah. Because I didn't want them to get corrupted. So I understand what that brother's saying, but it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Just imagine people who really believe in the deen. They know Islam is the truth, but they don't want to accept it because of the characteristics of the Muslims. And this brother said, man, I be looking at these Muslim women, and he said, there's no way I would marry any of them. There's no way I would marry any of them. So I just sat back when he said this to me, man. I just sat back and looked at Instagram while I'm at work. I'm just looking at Instagram, right? And every reel is just some woman. Oh, we just gonna start lying to men the way they lie to us. Which is basically, you don't understand, you're projecting. All the men you deal with, they lie to you because they don't like you. If a man, if he broke and he's saying this, we ain't got no time for him all summer. We in the streets. See, only broke men approach you. Men who got money and got something going on, they don't look at you. And this is a projection because you salty that the men you want pay you no attention. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just looking at these posts. So about like maybe 10, 15 posts, I found myself getting on the post saying, so basically men don't like you. Wallahi, I posted that on like maybe 5 posts. But I'm putting it as a question. So what is back to the streets for you? And some of them was Muslim women, man. Promoting divorce. Divorce ain't haram, got makeup all on their face. They covered up, partially, but they got makeup all on their face talking about divorce ain't haram, divorce ain't haram, divorce ain't haram. They got it on there 3 times. And then the same Muslim sister got another one talking about, I've been looking in the Quran, All I see is that Allah, the Quran says men have to do for women. I don't see not one verse that say women should do anything for a man. So now you promoting men to put up with mistreatment from women that they're doing something for. And then I'm just seeing all these Muslim women just saying all type of crazy stuff, man. And I knew, but I'm looking at them, and I can tell men don't like them. You know, all this men scared of being used for money they don't have. And you know what I'm saying? You can sit down to any man and be like, man, have you ever been scared of a woman using you for money that you don't have? See, for us, that's a stupid statement. But for them, they think they be eating because they so focused on impressing each other. But all that do is make good men look at them and say, I understand why men don't like them. You know what I'm saying? So it made me think of this hadith, man, that I want to share. Because it's real unfortunate, man. It's real unfortunate. And I ended up posting on Facebook like the sisters on Facebook that's like married and their husband really crazy about them, they be entirely different women on Facebook. But the ones who been in and out of marriages, can't keep no dude, can't even like this is for me. And I want some of you brothers to understand this, man, especially some of you younger brothers. Some of these sisters, not only can they not keep a man, they can't even keep a wakil. A woman who can't keep a wakil is problematic. It's problematic because he's not going to go find anybody for her to marry. And then generally, if she does bring somebody to him, he's going to try to stop the marriage, not based off of the brother. He's going to try to stop the marriage because of her character, if he's a good brother. And then she going to switch it up. Or he might just not talk to the brother at all because he don't want to tell the brother what he know about her. You know? But they don't know, they don't understand this, man. So I end up putting on Facebook like, you know, I've been looking at social media all day and I just see a bunch of women that men don't like. It's just too much misery. And one of the happily married sisters, you know, ain't no marriage perfect, but was like, I agree. And, you know, they ended up making a post saying, I done cleaned up my timeline, man. I'm not finna be going for all this male bashing. You know, all this miserly stuff, man. You know, then one sister jumped on there and was like, man, this post might be about me. So I was like, no, what I seen was all on Instagram. I'm like, what, men don't like you? And they was like, I don't know. Because I ain't talked to none. But then somebody jump all in my inbox talking about this energy is weird. And I'm like, but you know, I know that they may not feel like it, man, but I've been watching them deal with some mental health issues for a while. You know what I'm saying? So I really just overlooked it. You know what I'm saying? It had absolutely nothing to do with them. But, you know, some people just have mental health issues. But let me share this hadith with y'all, man. This for the sisters and for the brothers, man. This is a very long hadith, man. It's a few pages. So I'm only going to read a portion of it, right? Because a lot of people quote this portion of the hadith. So Ismail went to go, he got married, right? After his mom passed away, he got married to this female that was in the tribe that came around and, you know, met him and his mom when they was destitute in the desert. So after some time, Prophet Ibrahim went to go visit Ismail, and see how his marriage was going. So when Ismail showed up, when Prophet Ibrahim showed up, Ismail wasn't home. So he's a perfect stranger coming up to Ismail's wife. And he says to Ismail's wife, he asked her about his son. Well, how's your husband? Well, where's your husband? She replied, he's went out hunting. He went out to get some things for our livelihood. Okay? He's out seeking provisions to bring home for us. Then he asked her about the way they're living. How y'all living conditions? Like, how y'all doing? And she replied, we are living in misery. We are living in hardship. And we are living in destitution. And then she just kept on complaining to him. She don't even know who he is. He just a stranger that walked up to her house and said, where's your husband? And she automatically goes into he went out to go get something for us. I get to stay home. He went out to go to get some provisions to come provide for the home. I get to stay home and all that, but she's complaining to a complete stranger. We living in misery. We living in destitute. What was the other one that she said? And we living in hardship. So he said, when your husband returns, give him my salams, give him the salams for me, and tell him I said to change his threshold, to change his gate, right? Change the threshold of the gate to this house. So when Ismail came, and then he left. So when Ismail come home, he seen the energy was off. Things felt strange to him with her. So he asked his wife, has anybody been here? Did somebody come here? She replied, yes. So look, she didn't even, when he gets home, she didn't even tell him that the man even came. He got to ask her. So, when you look at some of the context, she's giving him attitude. So he coming home with the bacon, and he got to put up with attitude. He sensed something is off, so now he's dealing with attitude. So then she says, yes, an old man, and she kind of tried to give a description of him, came and asked me about you, and I informed him. And I told him that we were living in hardship and poverty. Now, you a Muslim man, and you come home to your wife, and she got an attitude, and you be like, man, what's going on, man? Somebody been to our house? Yeah, some guy came by here, and he looked like this, and he looked like this, and he asked me about you, and I told him we living in poverty and we living in hardship. What the husband gonna feel like right then and there? What the husband gonna think when his wife tell him something like that and he's already dealing with her attitude? Now look at this right here. So I told him we were living in hardship and poverty. On that, Ismail said, did he advise you anything? Did he give you some advice? She replied, yes. So he still got to get out of her. He told me to give you the salams and tell you to change your threshold. He still got to ask more questions just to get this out of her. But you know what? These type of women right here says they have a bad husband and they are the good wife. I'm a good wife. He's a bad husband. He coming in here asking me all these stupid questions. See, he's bad and she's good. This is how these women are today. But let's continue. Right? So, yes, he told me to give you the salams and tell you to change the threshold to the gate of this house. Ismail said, that was my father, and he has ordered me to divorce you. He has ordered me to divorce you. Go back to your family. Pack your little bags up. I'm taking you back to your family. Right? Now, some brothers deal with women and they be miserable with women with these type of characteristics. Nothing is ever good enough. Nothing what you do, although you doing for them, you always have to do more when they absolutely do nothing. They can talk to you crazy, say anything, but as soon as you tell them the truth about something, you're trying to tear them down. You're not trying to help them. You're not trying to help them be better. You're trying to control them. Because they weak-minded, see? They weak-minded. Now, I'm not saying this is all women. And real women know what I'm talking about. Because real women say this about these type of women. They just don't always say it to men. Because they do stick together. You know what I'm saying? But when they talk to certain men, they say that type of stuff about women. All you got to do is listen to them. They talk about how women really ain't all that clean. The women out here leaving their whole vagina in the bathroom. Like they smell horrible. They don't know how to take care of themselves. You just got to listen to what women say about women. But it ain't no such thing as them being a problem. It's always the man, and he could never do enough. But let's continue. Look at this. And this is in the book of hadiths for a reason, man. And that's why, because I want to advise the brothers, man. And that brother, man, he, it's going to break my heart, man, if he go join the Nation of Islam. But feeling like I'm just going to be a Sunni Muslim. Instead of going to the masjids, I'm going to go there. But I'm not going to say Fard Muhammad is God in person. I'm not going to say Elijah Muhammad is the messenger. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to sit up here with one of these good Muslim sisters, man. And I want to speak on something called the 14th degree. Let me finish this right here, though. Right? So he took her back to her family, and he divorced her. And married a complete divorce, right? And married another woman from amongst that same tribe, right? Then Ibrahim stayed away for a while, and then he came back. Once again, when he came back, Ismail was gone. And he met his wife. And he asked her, where's Ismail? Right? And she said, he's out hunting. He went out to go get some provisions, some livelihood for him and I. So Ibrahim asked her, well, how are y'all getting along? Like, how's life? How you living? How y'all living? Now keep in mind, this is the same life that the other woman was living. Look what she says. Right? She replied, we are prosperous and well off. But she's being serious. She's not just making up something for her husband, trying to make him look good. She's being serious. We are prosperous and well off, and we have everything we need in abundance. Food, clothing, shelter. We have everything in abundance. Then she said, Alhamdulillah, in a language that they spoke. All thanks and praises is to Allah. Not only do she not know that this is Ibrahim, Ismail's father, she doesn't know that this is a prophet standing in front of her. The other woman, you talking like this in front of a prophet about his son, and you don't even know who he is. And I'm mentioning that because when these women get on social media and get to trying to drag, oh, you men is like this, oh, you men is like that. Broadcasting certain things to all of these strangers, but people may know, oh, okay, I know who she was married to. I know who she's referring to. But in reality, you really the problem. You just like this woman in this hadith. But let me continue, right? So Ibrahim asked, well, what kind of food are y'all eating? She said, we eat plenty of meat. And he said, well, what are y'all drinking? And she said, we have plenty of water. Because, you know, they was in the desert. We eating good, clean meat, and we drinking a lot of water. You know, they was in the desert, so it wasn't like, at this time, it wasn't like they could go out there and just start growing stuff. And some of the explanations of the hadith do say where they explained from the Rasul and explaining to other people and the Sahaba, they didn't have any grains at that time. You know, they wasn't growing barley and things at that time. So meat was the law of the land, basically. Right? So when she said we drink plenty of water, and he said, may Allah bless your meat and your water, right? Then the Prophet added what I was just explaining. At that time, they didn't have any grains. Got a little ahead of myself. And they didn't have any grain. So he have also invoked Allah to bless it. Right? So what Ibrahim ended up saying to the woman when Ismail come back, tell him I said to keep this threshold on his gate. He has a very strong, firm gate on his household. So when he came in, he didn't have to ask, hey, we had to, he didn't have to drill her. A man came, he told me to give you the salams and said to tell you that you got a strong threshold, a strong, firm threshold on your gate, and for you to keep it. And he said, that was my father. He was pleased with you and he told me to stay with you. You the one. They both live in the exact same lifestyle. One of them just wasn't appreciative because they wanted more and they wanted more and they wanted more, and nothing was ever pleasing to them. And she sat up there and tried to make him look bad while she sat in the house on her butt. Brothers, take from that hadith, man. Take from that hadith. And I'm not saying if you married to a woman like that to divorce her, I'm not saying that. But when you start to go try to get married, man, and you see sisters have this naggy quality, and especially if they have social media and you see them doing all this, oh, I could never do bare minimum. But you ain't even got a person that was willing to do bare minimum for you barking up your tree. You don't even have a bare minimum person trying to get at you. Oh, we ain't doing trips and vacations. I don't want it. You ain't even got a person who do trips and vacations even thinking about you. You complaining about what you can't even get. And it's because you think you so high and mighty. Now, I seen a particular sister, man, doing a lot of this complaining and doing a lot of this male bashing, right? But I was in between their marriage. Now I'm not gonna put their business out there, but this is something that I want women to pay attention to, because in this day and time, man, it's time for the Muslim man to start being honest with ourselves, because people are watching. And right now I'm dealing with an individual who want to be Muslim so bad, but he has more fear of having problems and issues dealing with the real Muslims. He'd rather be a Sunni Muslim and go hide his deen within the ranks of the Nation of Islam, where he feel like he gonna be around peace, good brothers, and good sisters. They watching, man. And these women who, oh, I never do bare minimum, but you don't even got a bare minimum dude trying to get to you. You got good men looking at you on Instagram and all this stuff, man, and all this social media. And only thing that come to their head is, yeah, men don't like her. Men don't like her. She's bitter. Man, we know she's going to blame men, but we see her bad characteristics on display right now. Exactly like this woman. The Prophet Ibrahim didn't even have to ask, was she clean? Was she this? What her character like? Man, you sitting up here talking crazy about your husband. And some of these women, so like this situation, I'm a go-between. Brother, he taking care of his business. He pay the bills. He getting what's needed, right? But he may be being a little frugal. She won't clean up. So he's like, dang, I've been waiting on you to clean this little area up, man, for like 4 days. You at home. You don't go nowhere. He gets attitude. Well, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with your hands? Why can't you do it? You see the mess like I see the mess. This is the feedback that he's getting. So then they go through some rigmarole. Now you got to keep in mind, if the room was dirty on Monday, or this part of the house was dirty on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, now they having this conversation on Friday, there's only more mess and clutter in there by Friday. So then they go through some issues about the cooking. He gotta argue to get some food cooked. So now when he get to talking about, you kind of lazy, you kind of unappreciative. So then he listening to her mouth and trying to have a conversation with her, and then he feel like, okay, I see you really ain't all that smart. And she had 3 kids. So now he get to peeping out the kids and get to moving, and he be like, man, you're really not a good parent. But these was things that everybody knew. This sister done been through, like, I'm not trying to knock her or diss her, at least 15 marriages. At least 15 marriages. And out of the 15 marriages, everybody said the same thing about her. Every last one of them said the same thing about her. Now, me being one of the wakils, one of the backup wakils, just in case this one don't approve him or this one say, but see, I'm not going to get the call because I'm going to be the one to say, you're not ready for him. Because I already know you don't clean up. You don't clean up without a man. You don't cook without a man. I remember one time when I told them, man, because they wanted me to hook them up with a good brother, and I told them, no, I'm not going to do that. You a hardship. You a charity case. Not on a disrespectful level, though. And said, look, I tell you what. Monday is 7 days in a week, right? They said, yeah. On Monday, I want you to cook breakfast, a full breakfast, and a full dinner. Every day for 1 week. Cook 2 full meals every day for 1 week. You know what she said? But I be tired. When I be standing and I get this in my back. Okay, so what you feel like your husband gonna do? Because she already feel like she gonna manipulate him and whine and pout and do the sad face to where he gonna do the cooking, or he's gonna order food all the time. And I said, well, not on top of that. Clean your house all the way up. Do all of your laundry. Put all your laundry up. And keep your house clean and spotless for 2 weeks. Cook 2 meals for 1 week and keep your house clean for 2 weeks. She couldn't do it. But now when she get a brother in there and he's talking to her about it, oh, well, you stressing me out. You got me depressed. Right? You making me depressed. It's the way you talking to me. So he comes in and catch her on the phone. What she's doing? She's talking to about 4 or 5 other men bad about him. He's mean. He's verbally abusive. Now, how do I know this? Because I'm one of the people that she's talking to, but I'm going to go between. I help ease things out in their marriage. I was never on her side. Why did that man have to argue with you about cooking? Why didn't you just clean up the room? Well, I hate when a man asks me to do something. You knew you had to do it before he asked, though. So he comes in and catch her on the phone and go through the phone and see all the ex-husbands and everything. She talking to 4 or 5 different men about him, but she's lying. Now, it some of the stuff she was truthful about, but the stuff that he said to her and the things that he was going through with her, it was because of her actions. But now she want to plaster out there that he's a bad person. And she didn't have little bitty kids. Her youngest child was 14. So she's not a young girl like that either. Her youngest child is 14. So she can't use the, I got 3, 4 babies running around making messes all day. And then a lot of this is her mess. It's her room. Clothes everywhere. Clothes all on the floor. All over the bed. But she puts out there like he's a bad man. And all of her marriages was exactly the same. All of her marriages was exactly the same. But all of it is trauma. But then they love to say, well, you know, marriage is a learning experience. I learned my lesson. Obviously you didn't, because you're doing the exact same thing in every marriage. And now you mad at men, so now all you want to do is just badmouth men every day thinking it's going to get you a good guy. A person who understands their deen and their religion, they're going to see the woman that Ibrahim told his son to divorce in a woman like you. And a woman like you, that's what they gonna see. And all that, well, he ain't strong enough to handle me. He just sensitive. Oh, he have mama issues. No, you just crazy. You just crazy. And you don't really understand the deen of Islam. So, brothers, be careful, man. And sisters, man, quit blaming men for your failures. You know what I'm saying? Like even with me, I done dealt with some women, man, who, cause see, this how I am. I'm gonna let you act as ignorant as you want to, as long as it don't affect me. I don't even argue. I ain't finna sit up in the house and argue with you. I ain't finna go back and forth with you. We ain't finna yell and scream or none of that. You know what I'm saying? I got a few words for you. I'm through with it. And you deal with it how you please after that. I'm through with it. I don't do this soap opera stuff. But some of them, they mind, man. Some people, and this is one, and I want to close on this, man. Some people, man, just because they Muslim, don't mean, man, people don't have mental issues, man. I see a lot of Muslim brothers. I see a lot of Muslim sisters, man. And you know, I'm not saying this as a judgment, man, but I see some Muslims, man, that I've known, and they crazy now, man. They crazy. You know, they play with the deen, 1 foot in, manipulating. See, and I'm gonna go into that, man, because it's something that, you know, me and the brothers gonna go through about some Quran ayats. And I'm going to speak on that, man, where you going to choose error over guidance. So I ain't going to get into it, man, because this done got long enough, man. But, brothers, take from that hadith, man, and have enough wherewithal to be mindful of how you carry yourself on social media and in public, man. Because just imagine you get to the day of judgment, and then Allah, you get your book, and it says right here go 100 people that didn't become Muslim because the way you was acting. You know what I'm saying? Here go 100 people that didn't become Muslim, man, because the way you was acting. And on top of that, their kids, had they accepted Islam, they could have been in the corridor for their kids and their kids. It could have been a whole generation of Muslims that came from those 100 people. Those 100 people could have turned into 10,000 people over the time. But they didn't accept Islam because they seen you on social media. They seen you in the streets. They seen your characteristic. They seen your behavior. But everybody else is always the problem. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I never seen a person where everybody else was the problem fix their life. Because you know what happened? Okay, you a problem. I'm going to stop being friends with you. You a problem. We're not going to be married. You a problem because these is people who tell them the truth. And they feel like telling them the truth is trying to tear them down. But all these problematic people is away from you. Now it's just you. And guess what? You're still having the same problems. You know why? Because you the common denominator, man. You the common denominator, man. So I'm not trying to bash women, man, but take from this hadith, man. Take from this hadith. And like the Rasul said, man, he seen, I ain't even finna go into that, man. But somebody's always watching, man. You don't want to be held accountable for that. And then you don't want to be the spark that created the smoke and fire in your relationship. But then because you really won't clean up the house, and technically you really is nasty in the house, and they tell you, man, you know what, man, you nasty, man, I didn't know you was like this. That's not being verbally abusive. That's telling you the truth. And it's telling you the truth in a manner because they trying to get you together and letting you know, you're not going to keep a marriage like this. You might trick somebody else into this marriage. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for Islam, you really one of those type of girls a man just had sex with once or two times and never talked to again. That's what you really are. And like I say, man, sometimes when it comes to women, and women don't know this, but this is with men. But it's the same because women the same way. Some women know how to keep a man, and some women just got a dude who stays. They just got a dude who stays. You know what I'm saying? And see, sometimes when some of these women have these characteristics, as soon as they get with a guy that don't got no sense, he's gonna put hands on them. You know what I'm saying? And like some of us men, we not putting our hands on women, but when we listen to them and we see how they talk and how they move, we can see, a dude with no patience they'll put their hands on you. I can see it. I can understand why a person put their hands on you. We be able to see that because we men. Some women do just stay with them for whatever reason, and some just know how to keep a man. You know what I'm saying? And then you had a category where they can't keep a man and men don't stay. You can't keep no dude and they don't stay. You know what I'm saying? And then they want to make like, oh, well, I got out of this relationship. Oh, I was the one who wanted to leave. I'm going to tell y'all something, man. Generally, when a woman gets to the point that she leaving, I'm saying generally, that's because her husband or her boyfriend left years before she left. He just stayed. If a woman jump up and leave her man in 2025, right? In around 2019, 2020, her dude been left. He just stayed. Not trying to keep her around. They either had a kid or they had some type of material stuff going on. Some men just stay. You know what I'm saying? And you us brothers, man, we look at qualities and be like, okay, I could tell she can't keep no man. You know what I'm saying? And then what's to her, man, that will make me stay? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we in a relationship, if we married, and can we be friends? If she put me in a mindset, man, where she's so difficult to deal with, but we have a real friendship, and I stop having sex with her, like if we go 2 weeks without sex, what our marriage gonna be like? If we go a month without sex, what our marriage gonna be like? Men analyze those type of things. If I sit down and try to watch a movie with her or have a conversation with her, can I do it? Is she just gonna want to talk about herself and what she got going on? Or is she really gonna want to talk about what's going on with me? Is everything gonna be all about her? 90% about her? Because that's what a lot of women think. That's why you see these women making stuff. Oh, I'm getting tired of teaching men how to treat me. Why don't you learn how to treat them? The only thing we sitting up saying, okay, if you was with a dude and he was treating you bad, he didn't like you. But a lot of times, it don't be men treating them bad, man. They tell them the truth about themselves, and the women don't like it, man. They don't like it, and they know that they could go out and play victim and cry and boo-hoo, and everybody gonna take their side because they women. But men not gonna take their side. It's just gonna be a bunch of women that's gonna pander and, yeah, girl, yeah. But then, but a lot of them gonna be sitting up saying she's stupid. She set up and messed up that good relationship. They just not gonna tell her that. But anyway, man, y'all forget this little conversation, man. You know, it just upset me, man, when the brother, because I couldn't say nothing. I couldn't defend it. I wasn't mad. I didn't get mad at him, and I didn't take no offense to it. I was just like, he right. And it was to the point, like, just me saying that. Wallahi. I stopped calling people to Islam, man, because I didn't want them to have to be stuck with these brothers at this masjid, man. Wallahi, I didn't. It's to the point, man, where, I ain't gonna get into that, man. This done got long enough, man. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.